They actually tip off, Pete?
About 6:12, I think,
Okay.
or 6:15. It was closer to almost 6:15.
Okay.
And I think they held it as long as they could. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, I think they held it as long as they could. And eventually that's what they did. They put it on ESPN2 to start with, and then they branched it over once the game had ended.
Before the series started, what was your prediction for the series?
I was saying the Sixers in 7.
Okay, I said Sixers in 6 yesterday.
And again, this is just one game,
Right.
But it was the Timberwolves and Grizzlies game, by the way, that had gone late. That was that middle game that just kept going and going and going.
We got a jam-packed show today. We're going to be talking Sixers basketball, Phillies baseball. Of course, at the bottom of the first hour, we have On the Mound with Tommy Greene, brought to you by
GSF Performance and Sport. That's Aaron Beta's golf-specific fitness and golf and sports performance club.
There you go. And then at 11 o'clock, we're going to talk to our own Mike Carlin, and his basketball knowledge will chime in. And then at the bottom of the second hour, we're going to talk with former Flyers captain Dave Poulin.
Now, before you go to break, can I vent a little bit about the My Teams app?
Yes, you can.
Okay, that pissed me off too. So the big story on Friday was that they weren't going to air the Phillies game.
Right.
That, the Flyers would be on NBC Sports Philadelphia Plus or the old CN8, right? The Sixers obviously would be on the mothership. They'd be on the main channel. And that the Phillies, they were going to offer it on like Peacock or streaming or all these places. And I asked you this question this morning when you walked in the studio. I said, did you watch any of the Phillies? And you said no. And I said, well, I tried to watch it on my app and the app kept crashing. What's the point of a My Teams app if the damn thing keeps crashing?
I don't know if you can see that, but I have NBC Sports. It doesn't say My Teams. Is that the app?
No,
on my phone?
no, that's typical. That's typical. You don't even have the right app. God, you are a wonderful.
I don't have the app.
Being.
I mean, I have Xfinity.
What do you think? It just automatically goes on there?
I guess I got to go to the Xfinity.
And no wonder the NBC one doesn't work. Do you notice that NBC Sports channel doesn't really exist anymore? I mean, it's like you're trying to bank at Continental Bank and they went out in the 80s. Hey, where do you bank? I bank at Girard Bank. Yeah, they're done in like 1978. Good Lord. All right, read the bits.
Pete, you're killing me.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. All right, so we got a great show lined up. Dave, the reason why you reached out to Dave Poulin, and I thought it was a pretty classy thing to do because Mike Bossy passed away. And do you realize he was the first NHL player in NHL history to score 60 goals 3 years in a row?
He also scored 50 goals, 9 straight seasons, putting him in category with Wayne Gretzky. I mean, he was that good for so long. And here's the thing.
He only played 10 years, though, because he had back problems.
Yeah, late in his career. But, I mean, the first cup that the Islanders won was obviously the 80-81, where they beat the Flyers.
Was that the Leon Stickle call?
Oh, yeah.
It was offsides by
yeah, 100%.
Leon Stickle.
But here's the thing. I mean, he was really good. And Dave Poulin, who I happen to know, casually and talk to him on a regular basis, Pooley had written a column for the Toronto Star, talking about this is a real and he hadn't, Bossy hadn't even passed yet, so I thought he'd be good to have on. Plus, we can try to ask him what the hell's wrong with that team.
Well, we'll the status of the
make sure I'm more diplomatic than I am with you. Please, I'll put my nice hat on when we talk to Dave Poulin.
All right, so we got a jam-packed show. It's Easter Sunday. I hope everybody's having a great Easter morning, breakfast, brunch, whatever. And we'll talk sports here. I have a lot to talk about with the Sixers and the Phillies one. We'll get into that. The first hour of the locker room is powered by Surety Title. Surety provides comprehensive title insurance protection and professional settlement services for home buyers, sellers, real estate agents, brokers, lenders, home builders, developers, and attorneys to facilitate your real estate purchases. Surety is an industry-wide leader with a team of experts to help you through the entire process, from contract signing to closing, for the shortest center city and every place in between. Surety Title is there for you with 15 office locations in New Jersey and PA. That's Surety Title. For more information, call my good friend Ron Conklin at 856-988-8900. Of course, Surety is celebrating, 30 years in business as an outstanding company. My winter watchdog. Have you heard of New Jersey's premier vacant home management service, My Winter Watchdog? You know those worrisome thoughts that creep into your mind every time you hear of a storm coming, and the daunting task of driving down to the shore to check on the house, hours of time on the road, or if you're away for the winter in Florida or your winter destination, let My Winter Watchdog be your eyes and ears with their 15-point inspection checklist. They offer a full menu of maintenance and improvement services. Owner Debbie McGonigal and her team of property caretakers are professional, licensed, bonded, and insured. So don't let the winter worry you. They'll give your house that lived-in look. That's My Winter Watchdog. Go to mywinterwatchdog.com or give them a call at 267-202-1869. That's 267-202-1869, or send Debbie an email, debbie@mywinterwatchdog.com. When we return, we'll talk a little Phillies baseball. We'll lead off with a little Phillies baseball and Tommy Greene. You're listening to The Locker Room with Billy Schweim on 97.3 ESPN, and the PT is with me. We'll be right back right after this.
Pick Your Trip is back, and the Eagles draft party is back, where one
sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Need to get away? Plan a vacation now and create memories to last a lifetime, starting with nonstop flights from Atlantic City International Airport to Boston, Atlanta, San Juan, and Miami. Book your low-cost flight today by visiting spirit.com.
All right, we're back here in the locker room. Billy Schwein, Pete Thompson, Easter Sunday. it's a great Sunday, man. Got a couple big wins. The Phillies win. They break their 4-game losing streak. The Sixers, we'll get into a lot of Sixers here in a couple minutes after the Tommy Greene segment. But PT, yesterday on the show, I made a couple statements. I said the Phillies will probably win because I won't be able to watch them.
That's correct.
I'm a jinx.
That happened.
Okay, they won. And we talked about Kyle Schwarber, his inability to be a good, effective leadoff batter because he's only batted like 217.
So they led off with JT last night.
He went over.
He promptly went 0 for 5.
Right.
Here's the deal. All right, let's start with Tommy Greene first, and I'll bring this up when we talk to him. Since today is April 17th, so 4 days ago would be April 13th, correct?
That's correct.
On this date, April 13th, 1993. Hello, Billy. The Phillies beat the Reds 4-1. Their 7th win in their first 8 games.
93.
Tommy Greene, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts.
Wow.
Hello, L.A.
Well,
Larry Anderson. I'm still talking over here. Shut up.
Okay.
Larry Anderson and Mitch Williams throw 2 scoreless innings to close it out. Okay, go.
93. That going into 93, that team was predicted to finish last.
Not only were they
I
predicted
gave up my season tickets going into the 93 season.
You remember the name of the book?
I gave up my season tickets heading into the 93 season. They come off that road trip where they went to
Do
Houston.
you remember the name of the book after the season was finished?
No.
Beards, Bellies, and Biceps. The unlikely story of the 1993 Phillies. And that's why not only, and this has been a narrative probably ever since 93 on how slow the Phillies start, right?
Right.
Slow starts in April. We've talked about that all the time.
Right.
But that year, there's Tommy Greene.
I think they won 4 in Houston. They went to Cincinnati.
Remember there was a fight in spring training, and they talked about that too. Like, they buzzed somebody in spring training, and they actually got in like a fight in spring training. That sort of set
I rushed
the tone.
the ticket office when they came home.
So you can't.
So wait. I sat 116, right? Right
so
up for
you
first
gave
base.
up good seats.
Right, my seat. Well, wait a minute. I got lucky. Everybody was dumping them. You got to remember, from 1983 to 1993, they were horrible.
Sure.
Right?
I do remember. Yes,
okay, so
yes.
my family had season tickets from 1982 to like 1993.
Okay.
I took them over from my parents, I think in 90. I got tired of they were just horrible, so I decided to give them up. I was sitting in section 116, which was right up from first base at Veterans Stadium. Okay,
116, first base line.
First base line.
And right up from first.
I was on the inside of first base in that
so
section.
Closer to home plate.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
So I went to the season ticket office after they came home for the first game, and I was
give
able
me
to,
my seats back.
Yeah, but they were already gone.
So you got better seats?
No, I not better. I was in the same row, but on the other end.
Oh, that's like not so bad.
Instead of sitting, it's like 23, 22,
yeah, that's not
22,
so
23. I was sitting 1 and 2.
609-403-0973, 609-403-0973. Dan from EHT is already chiming in, even before we gave the number. Happy Easter, Dan. We appreciate you reaching out. He says, Billy, the Phillies lineup is all about dingers.
Well, it is.
Says they must have the least amount, though, so far in the league. Well, Dan, you got me to do my research here, unlike Billy. During the break, I actually know how to work a computer, and you'd be surprised. Yeah, I could hear the newspaper rattling over there. The Angels and Mike Trout lead the majors right now. They have 15 home runs so far, but you would think, according to Dan, that the Phillies are dead last. DFL, they are not. They are 17th. Out of they're ranked 17th right now. The bottom is the Orioles. The stinking Baltimore Orioles have only managed 4 home runs so far. The Pirates have 5. The Brewers have 5. The Royals have 5. So the Phillies with 8 is actually not so bad.
Well, I told you, we talked about this, I believe, off the air. That as far as the leadoff position, Kyle Schwarber is like your typical traditional leadoff hitter. You said,
oh yes, we talked about this.
You said you think Segura is, but I don't even think he's your traditional.
I never said he's a traditional leadoff hitter. I said he's the guy that they were using the most, and because he's missed 3 straight games, that means that Joe Girardi has to try and mix and match a little bit, and figure out what to do.
Verling got off the schneid. Finally, he got a couple. Hits.
Veerling.
Veerling got off the
it sounded
schneid.
like you called him
Bryson Stott.
Sounded like you called him vermin.
He's been playing like a vermin.
Yeah, he's been
All right?
terrible.
All right.
I like the Camargo guy, Johan Camargo
Yeah.
or Camargo or whatever.
Hoskins, Harper's 156. Hoskins is 296. He's not, they're not. They're. I guess they're going to live off the bomb, right? Like Dan said.
Fine,
but they're not.
You don't want to talk about Alec Boehm with his 2 hits and 3
He's got
RBI?
700, 717 or something like that.
I mean, Bryce Harper was the story. Bryce Harper, 2-run double, walked twice, stole home. Did you see the weird play where he stole home? Did you see what happened there? I saw it on the feed, and then I went back and they replayed it later in the game. But let's see, Castellanos was on first. He broke for second to try and draw a throw. Harper was sitting on third base at the time. So Castellanos breaks for second. The catcher throws down to second. Castellanos gets in a rundown. The minute that he has a chance and they're not paying attention to him, Harper breaks for home. Well, Castellanos, notice I keep saying Castellanos.
I know.
Pain in my butt. So anyhow, Castellanos head first dives back into first base as, like Keystone Cops, the 2 Marlins players collide into each other. And thankfully they weren't hurt. But yeah, that's
put 10 runs up there. They didn't have any HRs. It's kind of peculiar.
The biggest thing to me was
doubles,
they were up 2-0 before the Marlins even came to bat. They were up 8-0 by the time the Marlins came to bat the second time. And that allowed them to overcome the shaky outing from Ranger Suarez. I mean, Ranger Suarez only went 5. He wasn't like a world beater out there. But, Sir Anthony Dominguez was okay. I don't know much about Norwood. Do you? He had 1 strikeout in there.
But you and I went to the game on Wednesday, the business person's special.
Yes.
You guys sat in the shade. We were in the sun.
We were in like Flynn, man. You're talking about the Phillies
ticket office. Before I did.
Listen, I got a connection to the ticket office, and my guy, I'm just going to say he's an Ocean City alum, and he took care of the PT. Yeah, it was real respectable. They weren't free. I mean, I paid because you actually shot that back at me one point and said, must be nice to get tickets for free. And I'm thinking, hey, I paid. Here's the thing. So, full disclosure. So my father had tickets last Sunday.
Right.
I would have had.
You were to take me.
Right. I offered you. No, I offered Mike Carlin. He was, I offered a bunch of people. Nobody could go. Right. So, I said, Dad, I'm doing the radio show down here till noon. It's a 1 o'clock. They moved some of those back now. All the Sunday games now are going to start at 1:35.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or at least, so they moved a bunch. And some of them, the next Sunday game, I think they have the next Sunday home game, they moved to like 7 for like a national broadcast or something like that. But anyhow, my dad froze his butt off in like 40-degree temperatures last Sunday.
Cold, yeah.
He left early. He never leaves early. He left in like the 8th inning. So it was a really smart upgrade for me to not go and freeze in 40-degree weather and then go on Wednesday in like 78-degree shorts.
Beautiful day for baseball.
Except for the final score.
We're gonna when we get back.
Yeah, hurry up and read those so we can get Tommy Greene on.
Tommy Greene, because I like to pick his brain about the Phillies pitching. I mean, Nola, we gotta find out what's going on with him.
He's not good.
Yeah. All right. The first hour of the locker room is powered by Surety Title. Surety provides comprehensive title insurance protection and professional settlement services for home buyers and sellers, real estate agents, brokers, lenders, home builders, developers, and attorneys to facilitate your real estate purchases. Surety is an industry-wide leader with a team of experts that help you through the entire process, from contract signing to closing in the shortest center city and every place in between. Surety Title is there for you with 15 office locations in New Jersey and PA. That's Surety Title. For more information, call my good friend Ron Conklin at 856-988-8900. Friends, let me tell you about Maserati, the main line. Located just minutes from downtown Philadelphia. They offer a client-focused car buying experience designed to exceed all expectations and invite you to stop and see the area's largest selection of new Maseratis, including the sporty Ghibli midsize sedan or the class-leading Levante, the only SUV worthy of being called a Maserati. Maserati, the main line, also leads the nation in certified pre-owned sales and has the highest quality like new Maseratis available on the market. Your experience is not at the point of a sale, as Maserati, the main line, offers free pickup and delivery for scheduled service appointments and provides a new Maserati loaner car. So be audacious. Call my good friend Michael Pileggi at RDS Auto Group at 484-804-4800. That's 484-804-4800, or visit them online anytime at motml.com. When we return, we'll go on the mound with Tommy Greene. You're listening to The Locker Room with Billy Schwein, Pete Thompson, right here on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Sixers playoff basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN.
make and model, not to mention horn pads, steering wheels, wiring, and more. 122 million parts. You can even go for an upgrade. It looks like Mr. Cutoff Man needs a new seat cover. Try eBay Motors, pal. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
All right, Easter Sunday in the locker room with Billy Schwein, Pete Thompson. A great sports weekend as we get the Sixers win, the Phillies win, and now every Sunday throughout the season, we're going to go on the mound with Tommy Greene, brought to you by
Aaron Beta's Golf and Sports Performance Club. Call 609-788-4661 or visit gsfitness.com for your free assessment. Billy, we're talking about going on the mound. You and I, you get on Twitter, you search Tommy Greene, and the first thing, you hit latest, right?
Right.
So the first thing that came up, and thank you to @2008 Philz, PHILZ, 4/13/93. Do you know what happened on April 13th, 1993?
Tommy had a great game.
He did. The Phillies beat the Reds 4-1, their 7th win in their first 8 games. We talked about that earlier. Fast starts in April. And this guy, Tommy Greene, let me tell you, 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts for Tita Greene.
So let's go to the Maserati, the Mainline Sports Hotline, and welcome in former Phillies pitcher Tommy Greene. Happy Easter, Tommy.
Hey, pals. Hey, you doing, guys? Happy Easter.
All right, man. Tita Greene. Look forward to the segment each and every Sunday throughout the baseball season. Since you are a pitcher and were a pitcher, we're going to talk about the Phillies starting pitching. Are you concerned? It is early, and notoriously we're famous for slow starts, but Aaron Nola is a major concern for me, for Pete and I both.
Well, I mean, it's 2 starts in the course of a season of possibly, however many starts they're going to make. If he stays healthy, you're talking anywhere from, 32 to 35 starts probably. And, and that's what we want from him is to be able to have those starts like that. But he's got to, does he worry me? I mean, no, because he's like treading water right now. You know what I mean? He's got the ability, and we've seen what he can do. Right now, he's been into the last 6 months of 4 months of playing time. Since last year, he's been a little flat, and you go through those times in the course of your career or season where you get a little flat, and you still have to battle to survive. And and that's what he's having to do right now, and he's trying to figure out what's going to make him better. And what's going to make him better is he's missing when he misses is up in the middle of the zone, and he's giving up the ball that really hurts him. Now he had a really good start his first outing up until the 7th inning,
right?
And you can't throw the ball any better than he did. I saw that game. I was sitting behind home plate, and he just I don't know if he got a little tired and people talk about the third time around doing things. They get another look at you, and that's when you got to execute pitches, and he just didn't execute pitches, and that's what happened.
So notoriously, he is famous for a fast start, and then in September, his numbers kind of really sink. But hopefully, maybe we get a turnaround. I'll take that. It's better. It's always good to finish better than start, I guess, right?
Yes, yeah. As further, you want to have a whole season full of good starts, and I'd rather. If you got to work out any kinks, I'd rather it come a little early than during the later part of the season when it comes down to the where you have to win or not, that type of thing. When it comes down to crunch time, I'd rather be hitting on all cylinders at the end than if you're going to struggle a little bit early to define yourself. And seeing that, and that all comes back to the debate of spring training, them being short and getting out and they're working, getting their mechanics like they need to be, and getting on the mound to build that confidence and repetition they need in game situation. Nothing prepares you for game other than game situation. people got to understand that it's not that friggin' easy, So
no doubt. Tommy Greene's with us on the Maserati, the Mainline Hotline. And Tommy, I promise you, folks that are listening, we didn't practice this beforehand, but you just teed up my next question there, which is today it's Zach Wheeler that's on the hill for the Phillies. And there's a guy that really didn't get spring training, only went 4 2/3 in his first start, lost his first start. Would you expect a better outing out of Zach Wheeler today?
Well, I mean, and he did. I mean, he throws the ball. You look at what he's had 2 starts and pitched 8 innings. And he does what he does. He attacks the zone, and he forces contact, and that's what happens. I mean, basically, he's given up 4 runs in 8 innings, which he's holding his head above water. But we'd like, to be a little deeper in games. But see, that's the course of this season. I mean, what's happened so far is with his situation is because of the shortened spring training. He would have been hitting on all cylinders. I think he's right at the point, where he's finding himself because he's throwing. I mean, he threw good his first time out. He just, he didn't go that deep. I thought he threw well the first time around, and then the second time was a little bit different. It didn't quite have the command he did have. I mean, the first time, but it's all about lengthening out for him and getting to that. Hopefully he'll throw 100 pitches before. I don't know how many pitches he threw last time. I can't remember. But that's what we want these guys to do, to be able to give us the length and during the course and get through the 5 or 6 innings, at least. 3 and 4 are not cutting it. So. We need our guys to get that pitch count up and get it where it needs to be so they can go and turn them loose like they need to go. And Zach's one of those guys. He can and when he's on, he forces a lot of contact, and he could throw. He could throw 6, 7 innings and throw 60 pitches.
Yep.
Because he's forcing a lot of contact. That's just the way he is. And then when he goes bad a little bit, and he loses the zone, which is, he doesn't really lose the zone a lot, but when he loses, he starts working a lot of deep counts. That's when his pitch count gets up, and that's when he gets out early. Like the other day, I think that was more so the fact that happened.
Yeah, and it was against the Mets. It wasn't like they went crazy. I mean, it was a 2-0 loss. It was just his first start. I will ask you this, Tommy Greene. So you got Zach Wheeler today, and then the rotation goes Wheeler, and then after that, it's Nola, Gibson, Eflin. But more importantly to me, Tommy, than who the pitchers are, is the location of where they're going to be throwing the baseball. Tell me, as a former starting pitcher, the nightmare that is Denver, Colorado, and 5280. Like, the stories are real, right? I mean, what happens when you get in that thin air out there? They play 3 at the Rockies, and oh boy.
Well, I know. I mean, it's. I know I pitched in the old ballpark, not the new one. One they're playing in now, the newer one. But obviously it's the same thing. And what I noticed about that place, the breaking balls, like your curve ball, doesn't seem to take the bite as much. So you have to be real cognizant where you started at. And see, I was more of a fastball slider than curve, so I lose my slider a lot more than I used my curve ball. And still, the slider's a shorter breaking. Looks like your fastball more shorter breaking pitch. So you got to be cognizant of where you started at. And before you might be able to start it on, say to speak, down the middle to break it to the corner for a first pitch strike. You might throw it down the middle for a first pitch strike, and it might break an inch or two. And not much at all. And stay on the outer half and stay up in the zone a little bit. So you have to be cognizant. You have to move your starting point, say to speak, maybe to the outer half to break it to the corner. And then as you go over, you have to start it on the corner to break it off the plate, so you make sure you don't leave it spinning in the zone, so you have to be cognizant of your breaking balls a little bit more, I think, of where you start them at, to see how you're doing, see how you're throwing them in the bullpen. That's not necessarily how you're going to be throwing them on the mound, because I've had crappy bullpens and be totally opposite in the game and pitch a great game, and vice versa. It's just the way it goes, if you try to live everything off your bullpen, I know for me, I couldn't do that, so bullpen was all about getting yourself loose, spinning your pitches, trying to get your location down pretty decent. But when you amp up, when you step on that mound, the competition's on. The juices get flowing a little bit, the adrenaline, and I mean, it's a little different, and you have to get in there. That's about a lot of these, a lot of things just getting going early. I was notoriously, if you didn't get me the first couple innings, it was game on. I mean, and so I tended to struggle a little bit, getting my feet, getting into that groove the first couple innings. But if I got in the groove early, it was, it was pretty, it was, we were going to have a good battle that day. I was going to be pretty decent, and that's the way a lot of guys are. Tom Glavine, you look back in the day, I mean, he was notoriously giving up a couple runs in the first two innings, and then he wouldn't give up nothing else probably. He just getting going, and that's just the way it is. And it's just Denver. I'll get your attention real easy. It magnifies your mistakes. If you tend to hang breaking balls, you're going to really see it in that, and it's going to sit there and spin on a tee, and that's where balls get hit a long way. So you have to really be cognizant, of where you start the breaking balls and stuff. The fastball plays, right. So if you got your command, I think you really got to pitch in. You got to pitch in off the plate some. Don't try to, don't make a mistake on the plate, but pitch in off the plate some to keep them from leaning on you, because those balls do travel a long way up there. So, I mean, your fly balls keep carrying, they're routine fly balls, and a lot of, they still go out of the yard, so.
We're talking with former Phillies pitcher Tommy Greene on the mound with us every Sunday throughout the baseball season. Tommy, I think one of the couple games ago, they were talking about how pitchers have the advantage in cold weather. Is that
well? I mean, that's a good point. I mean, pitchers. The key to pitching, I think, in cold weather. Because I always used to hate it. Because I grew up in southeastern North Carolina. Every now and then it would get cold. Cold there and cold here is two different things. Yeah. So, I mean, but you get up here, and it gets cold in early April. I mean, we had the jet blowers in the dugout, and the ball feels like a cue ball because it gets slick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now they're able to go to their mouth on the mound and stuff. We used to not be able to do that. So I mean, it was unless you stepped off the mound to the grass, and do that. You don't do that every pitch. So I mean, we had to do things, but. Pitching in cold weather, it's all about keeping that right hand warm. We could blow in our hand, just keeping that hand warm in between it, not getting cold. Now, if it gets cold, and hitters are the same way, if they can't keep their hands warm and a pitcher's attacking his own, he's, and getting in, throwing quality, and they start hitting the balls off the end and, into the bat or off the head label of the bat, they don't like that, because it bangs their hands up even worse when it's cold, So if you got a guy that's pounding the zone like that with some late life, they got a tendency to take some balls, more, and I mean, if you're pounding the zone, you're getting those strikes called. I mean, it can go relatively quick. I mean, I've thrown some real good games with cold weather. Once I got used to pitching in cold weather a little bit more and how to take care of myself a little bit and stay warm, it really helped me. So
nice job by Billy there to segue, by the way, Tommy, because the cold weather affected the people at the Masters too. You know what I mean? Yeah. Tiger couldn't feel his hands and he couldn't putt.
Yeah, I mean, it's all kind of thing. And then on top of that, you might have wind.
Well, which makes it even worse. And the reason why I brought that up is because they're heading to Colorado. They just had a major snowstorm out there.
That's true. It could be a little brisk. Hey, Tommy's appearance
what about this morning you wake up?
Oh, yeah.
It's cold. How about tomorrow morning? It's going to be free.
Right.
So I'm like,
he is risen, but I'd like to go back to bed. Aaron Beta's Golf and Sports Performance Club, gsfitness.com. We're going to get Tommy in the simulators there. We're going to use the TrackMan and the Foresight technology. And before we let you go, Tommy, I will say this. I do have to ask you this. It was Jackie Robinson Day the other day. I saw this movie come on TCM. That's Turner Classic Movies, Billy.
I know that.
Forget what it stands for. It was The Natural, right? The 1984 movie, The Natural, with Robert Redford and Robert Duvall and Glenn Close and Barbara Hershey. Yeah. Now, I love that movie, okay? I was 13 when it came out, right? I love that movie. But there's other iconic baseball movies. So I want to ask you, as a former major leaguer, before we wrap up, what is your go-to favorite baseball movie?
Oh my God. it's hard to go against Bull Durham. I mean, 'cause they
Were you
played
Nuke? Were you like a live version of Nuke?
No, I was not. But I tell you, because it was played. The hometown was Durham, North Carolina. So I gravitated to that pretty. And they pitched they did that movie in the high A ball of the Braves organization team back then. It was the Durham Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
So. But I guess my go-to movie of recent history would have to be by Kevin Costner. For the Love of the Game is pretty good.
Oh yeah,
Billy
Billy Chapel. Yeah.
Yeah, Billy Chapel. You talk about the way he pitches on the man. What goes through your mind sometimes, during the course of things. He was dealing with a lot of things, but that's a go-to. I mean, that's a good movie. It depicts what you do a little bit. Like when he said clear the mechanism, that's sort of things we do. We've drowned out what's, around us and deal with what's in front of us, so there's that type of thing. I mean, it's a pretty good depiction of that.
Tommy Greene, as always, we really appreciate you having you on every Sunday throughout the baseball season for On the Mound with Tommy Greene, brought to you by
Aaron Beta's Golf and Sports Performance Club. Call 609-788-4661 or visit gsfitness.com for your free assessment.
Tommy, you and Wendy have a very happy Easter, and we'll talk to you next Sunday.
You got it, pal.
There he is. Tommy Greene, Tita Green, on the Maserati, the Mainline Sports Hotline. The first hour in the locker room is powered by Surety Title. Surety provides comprehensive title insurance protection and professional settlement services for home buyers, sellers, real estate agents, brokers, lenders, home builders, developers, and attorneys to facilitate your real estate purchases. From the shortest center city and every place in between, Surety Title is there for you with 15 office locations in New Jersey and PA. That's Surety Title. For more information, call my good friend Ron Conklin at 856-988-8900. Hey, just about everybody in our area has heard about the Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine run by ex-Philadelphia tight end Ken Duddick. But were you aware of their private business network they call the Legacy Club? Every month they hold private events at upscale locations in Philadelphia and South Jersey that attract over 200 top business people. If you have an interest in attending one of these events and see it's a fit for your business, send an email to ken@jerseymanmagazine.com or give them a call at 856-912-4007 for more information. When we return, we'll wrap up the hour number one and get you ready for hour number two in the locker room with Billy Schwein, Pete Thompson, right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Coming up on the next edition of the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Come on.
alcohol. For cost information and conditions, equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, and MLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030. Call 800-490-1233 for disclosures and cost information.
A new fusion of flavor, friendly competition, and fiery foods. That's the Chili Knockout and Spicy Food Fest, Saturday, May 21st. Orange Loop Arena, New York Avenue in Atlantic City. It's an opportunity for culinary discovery. Chili Knockout is a food festival devoted to exploring all things flavorful and spicy. It's an interactive, you be the judge, chili cook-off, and a day out with friends and family, supporting this seaside community culinary scene. It's a kickoff to spring like no other. Tickets are available now at chilliknockout.com. Produced by Good Time Tricycle.
Pete, can I give you my favorite movie?
Of course.
Mr. 3000 with Bernie Mac.
Now, mind you, I wasn't saying that The Natural is my favorite baseball movie. I was just saying that.
Well, you wanted to know his favorite movie.
Yeah, I wanted to know his. And I mean, to me, it's
I would have to
hard
say
'cause
mine's The Natural, but then my second favorite would be Mr. 3000 with Bernie Mac.
Mr. 3000, that's
Yeah.
it, 2004. I just
Right.
had to confirm that I was right. And
Right.
of course, I was right. I mean, you could go to Major League, right?
Yeah.
You could go. Bull Durham is
Bull
a great.
Durham, right.
I have no problem with him picking that. You could go to, Pride of the Yankees. You could go to, there's all kinds of stuff out there that are baseball movies. What's the one about Thurman Munson, right? I mean,
Right.
maybe that's Pride of the Yankees. I'm showing my ignorance.
Sure.
But there's all kinds of baseball movies out there. And what's your favorite baseball movie? That For Love of the Game.
Right.
My story on that, by the way, is that I watched that with Kevin Costner.
What?
Yeah.
You watched it with Kevin Costner?
Remember how you went and saw the screening of the American Underdog
Yeah.
with Quast and
Yeah.
you guys were crying?
Yeah.
Imagine if you were in a theater like that with Kevin Costner. No disrespect to Dick Vermeil and all the other people that were in attendance that night, but yeah, I was in Omaha, and Costner would always come back for the College
that's
World Series,
awesome.
and he came back because Cal State Fullerton was playing and Texas was playing.
Okay.
Augie Garrido, the late Augie Garrido, was the manager of Texas, used to be the manager at Cal State Fullerton.
Okay.
So Costner brings this movie back, and he screened it at the local AMC for the Cal State Fullerton team, the Texas baseball team, everybody in their traveling party, and some select media. And I was one of the select media. So I sat in a theater like
You are
160 to watch that movie before it ever came out.
You are select. Now, what are you doing? You're getting ready to play in a golf tournament, I hear.
I am, and it's not with you, so I'm really thrilled about it. Now,
that means you're going to lose. If you beat me, that's about
it's a scramble. You can't lose. Everybody wins. It's the Dean Randazzo Cancer Foundation, the DRCF. Their Golf for a Cause is coming up on Thursday, May 5th, okay? It's Harbor Pines, and it's registration at noon with a light lunch at 1:30. So the people that are like, I can't take half the day, we're not even teeing off till 1:30, okay? So please come out and be a part of that. The DRCF.org. The DRCF.org. That's how you find out the information on the golf.
And of course, Dean Randazzo is a great surfer. He was on the professional tour for a long time. And he spent a lot of time at my house there at 31st Street. We had a good house.
And it's been a couple of years because of COVID and stuff and the pandemic. So, I'm stoked, man. The last time I played in this, it was at Mays Landing Country Club. So now I'm happy. Harbor Pines, man, that's legit. May 5th, DRCF.org. The DRCF.org. Check it out.
It's the Locker Room with Billy Schwein, Pete Thompson, right here on 97.3 ESPN. 11 o'clock hour next.
South Jersey Advanced Health Solutions, South Jersey's premier clinic for allergy elimination and Lyme disease, effective treatment of chronic
Protecting what you love and own. East Coast Roofing and Siding. Trust us with your family and home.
Hey there, South Jersey. This is Sean Steitler with East Coast Roofing, Siding, and Windows. Do you have a home project you've been pushing off? Does your house need a facelift? If so, you need to take advantage of our Economic Relief Rebate Program. For a limited time, we are offering no money down, no interest, and no payments for 12 months. Plus, when the job is complete, we will send you a rebate check for up to 15% of the cost. No payments until 2023 and money back in your pocket? You can't beat this deal. Call us today to schedule your free consultation. 609-625-1900. That's 609-625-1900. You can also visit our website at eastcoastroofing.com for more information.
East Coast Roofing and Siding. Trust us with your family and home.
The radio home of Joel Embiid, James Harden, and the 76ers.
Dominate at one of the biggest dunks of his career.
We are 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station.
Set, ready, 83.
Welcome to the locker room.
Vince Papali, welcome to the locker room.
I can smell it already, Billy. What's happening, buddy?
Von Hayes, welcome to the locker room with Billy Schwein.
Yeah, hey, Billy, how you doing out there?
Rich Gannon, welcome to the locker room, Rich.
Thanks, guys. It's great to be with you.
Great Bob McElwee, NFL referee.
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
Craig Berube. Craig, welcome to the locker room.
All right, thanks, Billy.
We have the real Pat Croce in the locker room.
Let me off the bench, Coach.
And now here's your host, Billy Schwein.
All right, we're back here in the locker room with Billy Schwein, Pete Thompson, 97.3 ESPN. Pete, the Sixers with a big win open the playoffs against the Toronto Raptors at the Wells Fargo.
You got that right. 131 to 111. It was a laugher by the end.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to get into it with our next guest, our very own Mike Carlin, standing by. But before we do that, a couple keys that I want to talk to you about real quick.
Sure.
And we'll elaborate with Mike when we bring him up. Is the fact that the Philadelphia 76ers were out-rebounded the Toronto Raptors, but Van Fleet got into foul trouble right away.
That helps.
And that really helped.
You know, big time. I mean, usually it's Joel Embiid getting in foul trouble, and instead it was the other side who got in foul trouble. And not for nothing, too. That's another stat. Joel Embiid had 19 points and 15 rebounds. We talked about that. Guess how many turnovers he had?
None.
Zero.
Yes,
absolutely zero.
Zero.
Harden, 22 and 14, 22 points, 14 assists. That's unbelievable. But the story was number 0, Tyrese Maxey. My God, was he good.
All right, so let's go to the Maserati, the Mainline Sports Hotline, and welcome in our basketball aficionado, Mike Carlin. Happy Easter, Mike.
Hey, guys, great to be with you. It was a pleasure watching those Sixers last night. I mean, they looked like they were ready for this game, getting ready for 2 weeks, didn't they? I mean, everything seemed to click. The defense, the trap. I mean, I think what Toronto saw right out of the gate is their whole idea was to trap Embiid every time he got the ball.
And he dished it.
He just burned him.
Yeah.
I mean, he hit the open guy every time. And when he did, we were making shots. It wasn't like during the regular season where he would spin it out to Harris or spin it out to somebody else and we'd shoot a three and miss it. Last night, it seemed like Harris was hitting every three he got.
Now, Mike, let me just specify one thing, that you were Mr. Doom and Gloom last week because legitimate. I mean, you're right about
me too.
The fact that they don't have a bench. But here's the thing: Harden was 4 for 7 from the 3-point line. That's all he needs. If he just hits half of his shots, which is better than the league average.
Let me color that up. The overall, guys, they shot 51% from the floor and 50% from beyond the arc. That's the 4th team ever since the 79-80 season to score at least 130 points, while shooting 50% from both the field and beyond the arc. It's
no,
an unbelievably hot
Oh, my
night.
God, give it. I granted to you guys both. The bench is a worrisome thing, but guess who played last night? Paul Reed. Paul Reed played last night. What did I say on the program here yesterday?
Big ball Paul. You love him. You love him.
Right? Doc Rivers is making, what are we on the Paul Reed tour? He was condescending. People weren't happy with some of the things he said. And then he comes out. Guess what? He plays Paul Reed. And guess what? He played pretty well.
Yeah, but you can only play him. I mean, you had to play him a little, but you can only play him in a blowout.
But he was criticizing the fandom, the Sixers fans for wanting him to play, and what's he do? He puts them in.
Why don't we let Mike talk? But by the way, 11 minutes and 3 points out of Big Ball Reed. Here you are. You're proclaiming him the MVP. All right, go ahead.
Not.
All right, be quiet and let Mike Carlin talk.
Guys, you have to remember a couple things. First of all, you got to give Doc his due. Okay, he's with the team 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's got to be something going on that maybe he sees or the coaches see that we don't see of why he isn't playing them. And you have to think about it. Maybe he doesn't know all the plays. This is me just guessing. But if he's as good as we think he is, he'd be doing that in practice day in and day out. And the coaches would be saying, hey, we got to play this guy more. We got to play this guy more.
He was a +4.
Okay, but my point is we're big on getting down on Doc. Doc may know something that we don't know. Let's just move it at that. Okay?
Yeah, but we talked about his condescension to the kid. The kid played great the last 2 games, albeit in a mop-up,
Who was he condescending to, Paul Reed or to the reporter?
To everybody.
Okay.
No, to the fans. He made it sound like the fans didn't know it. Oh, he had a great game, so, let's get on the Paul Reed bandwagon.
Sounds like you're not on the Doc Rivers bandwagon.
No, I'm not. I fell right off, and I broke my ankle, too.
But getting back to the game last night, Billy, we talked about it. I thought one of the biggest things for me going into the series, remember I said at the end of the series, if Harden's not the second best player in the series, we'll be in trouble. Remember I said Embiid should be number 1,
right?
And Harden should be number 2. If Harden's not 2 and it's someone from Detroit, then this series is going to go 7. But if they play like they played last night, guys, we got 3-4 guys. Okay, if Embiid and Harden can play like that for the next couple games, don't be surprised if this is over in 4 or 5 games. It's going to be over that quick. If Maxey can play like he did at Harden and Harris, you got 3 legitimate scorers. Even though there's 4, I'm giving Maxey and Harris. I don't think Maxey's going to play like that every game. But if he can just play half that good and Harris can play half that good, then you've got 3 legitimate scorers out there at all times. They'll be okay in this series. I didn't see this happening. I'm glad it's happening. Yeah. I love to see it happening. But this series could be over. If they play like that last night, this series could be over in 5 games.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, Mike. I'll say this, that Tobias Harris, that's his 4th
points,
highest scoring playoff game, 26 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. It's his second 25-5-5 game of his playoff career. He did go off against the Wizards in 2021, and when he hits those marks, they're 2-0 in those games. I mean, that's the good Tobias Harris. When I saw him catch and shoot and knock it down, to me, and I guess I'll ask you this, Mike Carlin, was there anything you didn't like? And the only thing I didn't like was Danny Green. Danny Green did not impress me, and he better start impressing me, because when they get to Canada, guess who's going to be playing? Yeah. Danny Green, not Matisse Thybulle, right?
Field goal.
Yeah, and what's going to happen is their game plan is going to be, hey, let Danny try to beat us.
0 for 5 at the 3-point line.
Yeah, if he don't step up to the plate, then we're going to be back to being in trouble again. But again, guys, I don't really think too much of that. I look at a guy like Harris as being, he's a scorer. When he came from the Clippers, we knew he was a scorer. Sometimes basketball players, even this time of year, he knows he had an up and down year. But now it's the playoff time to make a name for himself again. Trust me, he slept great last night, and he's excited to go to shoot around today, and he can't wait for that next game to start. When you're a basketball player and you're feeling like that, sometimes you can ride this for 2-3 weeks at a time, and he can have one game after another of good games. And I'm telling you, with Harris the way he's playing, and Maxey, and if we can get some stuff, real good stuff out of, we know what we're going to get Embiid. Embiid's the MVP of the league. He should be the dominant player.
We'll see.
I agree. I agree with that.
Anything we get from Harden is almost a plus if we can get Maxey and Harris.
Let me ask you about Maxey, though, Mike Carlin. You're talking about Maxey. I don't think we've given him his due. I watched the entire post-game show. Billy knows how I watch that show. When they put graphics up, I take pictures of the graphics so I can remember him the next day. Do you realize that Tyrese Maxey is now only the third youngest to be 38 plus points or more in a playoff game? Wow. Magic Johnson is still on that list. He was 20 years and 276 days in 1980 when he scored 42 points. But this graphic I'm looking at is Magic Johnson, LeBron, Tyrese Maxey. Wow. I mean, that's an unbelievable chart to be on.
Yeah, that's like that. And on the better side, I think for me, when you're really talking about his position of controlling the ball, guys, he had 0 turnovers. And sometimes if you watch him, he can get a little crazy out there and try to almost do too much, and then you see him throw the ball away here and there. Last night's game was unbelievable, not just with the scoring, but with his passing, but 0 turnovers, and that's the key for him.
And, of course, my favorite play of the whole game was when
the big bounce pass.
Yeah, the bounce pass.
Harden
to Maxey.
Yeah.
I mean, that just electrified the crowd.
Were you ever in a bowling league?
A bowling league?
Yeah.
No.
Carlin, were you ever in a bowling league?
I got to pass on that one, too.
Okay. In bowling, right, you're starting the ball out, and then it hooks into the pins. Harden was praised for his pass because he put a little English on it. He didn't just throw the ball with 2 hands. And when the reporter after the game said to him, hey, it looked like on that bounce pass you actually put a little right to left spin, did you? Harden lit up like a Christmas tree. It was like, thank you for noticing. I take my craft very seriously.
Well, listen, I got to tell you, we out-rebounded. Offensive rebound, I think it was 10-7. We out-rebound them in the offensive zone and in defensive zone in total. I mean, we played a physical game against a physical team.
What were you going to say, Mike?
We did. The other thing that stood out for me with Maxey, did you guys remember the play where he stole the ball at about the top of the key, and there was a guy in front of him, and he
blew by him, outran everybody.
He literally blew by him, and then when he dunked it, I mean, he didn't go up for a layup. He literally dunked it and was like, did you just see what he did? I mean, the speed that he has and the control of the ball was unbelievable. He had everything going. And you could see when there was like 5 minutes left and he was still in that game, he knew the game was over. He was smiling. There was no, hey, we're going to lose this game. He knew he was playing good. He knew they were going to win. But guys, we have this next game coming up. You don't want to go to Toronto 1-1.
No.
Okay?
Right.
That's the last thing you want to do. You want to keep the momentum going. Get this the 2 win, get up to Toronto, and if you can steal the game 3, then they know it's over. Okay? And that's why I say it could be over in 4. Maybe they win 1 and we come back and we end it in 5. But it was a great game. Yeah, and
the Sixers beat a physical team, which I thought that was a key.
He's right. That was a statement play by Maxey. That's a good point by you, Mike Carlin. Can I just read a couple of these players in this 2020 draft? I mean, you got this guy LaMelo Ball, right? Fine. Everybody knew what his resume was, and he was picked 3rd overall by Charlotte originally, right? But then you've got Killian Hayes, some guy from France, went to the Pistons, right? Who else is in here? Tyrese Halliburton, Kyra Lewis Jr., right? If you're the Pelicans, if you're the Kings, who else is in here? Yeah. Cole Anthony. Who are you, Cole Anthony, right? If you're the Magic, okay, just keep going down until you get to 21, Tyrese Maxey. I'm telling you, this guy could be the steal of that draft.
Absolutely. So you got to give credit to where credit goes, to management. They saw something. And,
Raptors also suffered.
This is what you do your homework for.
Mike, the Raptors also suffered a couple of injuries. Barnes, you see that? He turned his ankle. And
Embiid stepped
on. I mean, that didn't look good. And, of course, I think
Thaddeus Young.
He's hurt, too.
Yep, and Capella's hurt. I mean, they're going to be they're in trouble right now. And I think they realize they're in trouble. And, like, I think Pete brought it up with their point guard getting in foul trouble literally in the first 3 minutes. That changes the whole philosophy of how he can guard somebody, and that was good for Maxey to take advantage of that.
I'll give Billy credit. That was Billy that mentioned Van
Oh, was
Vliet.
that Billy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen,
sometimes I have to give him credit.
Sometimes.
Begrudgingly.
Listen, Pete and Mike, it's a game of adjustments. And obviously, double teaming and triple teaming Joel Embiid didn't work.
Well, we also didn't talk about this. The Sixers had time to prepare, right? They had a very long time, and they all talked about that too. Like, we basically executed what we worked on in practice. You get through the rigmarole and the grind of the regular season, you're not doing a lot of true preparation. In this case, one opponent, a lot of film,
Yeah, well, that's the whole idea of they got to give the guys that are 1 through 6 an advantage. This play-in of 7 to 10, this play-in, it's working out exactly how I think the NBA wants it. We're going to let you in the playoffs, but we're not making it easy on you. Like last night, the night before Cleveland played Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay, so Atlanta won, and Atlanta looked really good, but they had to travel that night at midnight, go down to Miami. They had a shoot around yesterday, and they have to play today, where Miami's been off for a week. And that sets Miami up. But that's how this playoffs are going to be. So
I'll tell you what, very exciting game one. Big win for the Sixers, 131-111. Mike Carlin, Godspeed with your father. I know you're up with your dad, and I hope hopefully he's comfortable. And we'll see you next week. And let's hope the Sixers can continue their winning ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be on, and thanks for having me, guys.
All right, there he is, Mike Carlin on the Maserati of the Mainline Sports Hotline. The second hour of the Locker Room is brought to you by the Great Bay Country Club, where it's not just golf, it's fun. Make Great Bay Country Club your club. Great Bay is an award-winning private golf club where you are greeted by name. It's home of the 3-hour and 58-minute round. You can play on their 18-hole championship golf course, enjoy fine dining, experience lively atmosphere in the pub. There's a full calendar of golf and social events throughout the season to appeal to everyone. For more information on how to become a member, go to greatbay.com or give them a call at 609-927-5071. Great Bay Country Club in Summers Point, New Jersey. See why it's always a great day at Great Bay. When you get down there, say hello to Radio Ron Ralston for us. He's our man. My Winter Watchdog. Have you heard of New Jersey's premier vacant home management service, My Winter Watchdog? You know those worrisome thoughts that creep into your mind every time you hear of a storm coming, and the daunting task of driving down to the shore to check on the house hours of time on the road, or if you're in Florida for the winter. Let My Winter Watchdogs be your eyes and ears with their 15-point inspection checklist. They offer a full menu of maintenance and improvement services. Owner Debbie McGonigal and her team of property caretakers are professional, licensed, bonded, and insured. So don't let the winter worry you. They'll give your house that lived-in look. That's My Winter Watchdog. Go to mywinterwatchdog.com or give them a call at 267-202-1869. That's 267-202-1869. Or send Debbie an email, Debbie@mywinterwatchdog.com. All right, when we return, we'll continue with more Sixers talk. You're listening to The Locker Room with Billy Schwein, Pete Thompson, right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Coming up on the next edition of the Sports Bash with Mike Gill.
Coming up on Monday, we'll
doesn't mean you can't be driving your new Kia home tomorrow. So bring any trade to Matt Blatt Kia, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. And don't forget, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 5/8/2022. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
You're going to clap again?
Man, I'm right into it.
We clapped in the first hour.
Clap it again because I'm into it. Clap your hands.
It is a great song.
Everybody.
I got to tell you, if you don't get a song like this after your wins,
76
you're jealous. I watched a little of Denver last night, Denver and Golden State. Did you watch that? Because I was waiting for the news to come on.
Not much.
You know, and I'm thinking like Golden State, maybe Golden State, but they don't have this song.
By the way, who do you want in the Knicks in the Nets Celtics? Do you care?
God, you're like asking me like, who do I want, Wilson Good or Frank Rizzo? I mean,
Well,
I don't want eitherbody to be.
But if you had a gun in your head and you had to,
Of course, I want the Celtics over the Nets. I don't want the Nets to do anything.
I hate the Celtics though.
I do too. That's why you just gave me a Sophie's choice.
I don't have a disdain.
How am I supposed to pick?
I don't have a disdain for the Nets like I do the Celtics. I can't stand the Celtics.
But the Nets could beat us.
The Nets could beat us. I know. All right.
You actually think Ben Simmons is going to play?
No.
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 Right.
I hope
mean,
he doesn't
come
turns his ankle.
Yeah, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. We'll see.
How about did the Bulls have a shot against Milwaukee?
By the way, welcome back to the locker room with Billy Schwein. That's the other voice you're hearing on here. Go ahead.
Do you think the Bulls have a shot against the Milwaukee Bucks?
Well, sure, a puncher's chance, but I mean, there's a reason that the Bucks are where the Bucks are, right? I mean, forget about it. The
Heat is laying 7 today.
Oh, you don't ever ask me for gambling advice, for God's sakes.
By the way, I took the unders yesterday.
How'd that go?
I lost.
I saw Mike Gill and somebody else put up that there was they basically had 6 out of 7 on a parlay, and it was either Tobias Harris a half a rebound or something cost him from being able to hit a 6 parlay thing or so. I don't do, it's the one thing that my lovely girlfriend is happy about, despite the fact that I talk about sports for a living and I care about sports. I have not become invested in any of the daily betting.
Do you have a sports betting app on your phone?
That would be a no.
Okay.
Not a single one.
Very good, Pete.
Thank you.
Hold on to the money that you have.
That's how, you don't pay me enough to be making daily bets. You don't pay me enough. So what do we got today? We got Atlanta, Miami at 1. Then you got Brooklyn, Boston's the national game at 3:30. Chicago, Milwaukee's at 6:30. And then New Orleans, Phoenix is the late game at 9 o'clock.
Here's what it comes down to, okay? Van Fleet got into foul trouble early.
That helped.
Tobias Harris was hitting his shots. He was
that
getting
helped.
Wide open looks, but he was knocking them down.
I thought
Tyrese Maxey went off.
But don't you? That's all true.
Plus, Joel Embiid
right
scores 19. Everybody you see, if you were just to look at the box score and you saw that Joel Embiid was only scoring 19 points, you probably think they would have lost.
No, but it was a balanced effort,
right? Because he was getting doubled and triple teamed, and he was making perfect. How about that one pass to Tobias Harris? Looked opposite. Look, when you have the ball, people come at you. Look opposite. The guys, there's got to be somebody open.
The guy that made the passes and the guy that I think will determine their playoff success or failure. Where's number 1? And his name is James Harden. Everybody, including Stephen A. and others, were putting the screws to him and saying that he's come up short in the postseason. Now it's only one game.
He was 4 for 7 for
it's
3
only one game.
Right.
But that was good Harden. 22 points, 14 assists. And how many turnovers, Billy?
Not one.
Pete,
one
turnover. That's good James Harden.
If he has 14 assists, that means other people
he's involving the rest of the team, right? And they scored the basket, right? You don't get an assist unless the guy scores.
Right.
Not for nothing. James Harden's 32, the hamstring, right? Is that an issue? Is it not, right? He's been around. Did you hear him say, and I don't know if you're watching any of the post-game press conference stuff, did you hear him say that this is my 13th year in the playoffs?
Yeah.
He's in his 13th season.
13th
He's been in the playoffs every
year.
year. Okay. So there's a lot of people out there that are like, hey, $46 million opt-in. Like, do we go for that? Or do we go for like 200, like, who cares about that right now? What you should be caring about is, can you get more of this fountain of youth Harden, the good James Harden? And who knows? Maybe he was rope-a-doping us. Maybe he's had this gear all along, but he certainly looked good last night.
And how about Joel Embiid's physical play? I mean, did you see it when he did the
Nurse
I don't think that was intentional.
Okay. When you're 7'1", the elbows are a little higher.
7'2". Don't take an inch from him.
Sorry, Nick Nurse was complaining after the game, and I'll tell you what, if I was a Toronto fan, I'd be complaining too.
The only thing I don't like about when Harden goes to the basket and he gets fouled, he's always he's putting his arms up like.
It's the NBA these days.
If you're a referee,
didn't you hear on the live microphone Pascal Siakam on multiple occasions going, and one?
Yeah, you can hear that clear.
You can hear that 100%, Yeah. So, I mean, look.
Clap your hands, everybody.
Clap your hands, everybody. I couldn't believe.
Are we getting too excited?
No, we're fine. You're too excited. I'm measured in my response.
I'm going to stay true to who I am. I told you guys yesterday. I get excited, but guess what? In the playoffs, I'm going to keep it even keel.
Do you know that was just the third time that Harden had 0 or 1 turnovers only and double-digit assists in a playoff game?
That's key.
I mean, that's the magic formula right there.
And B didn't turn the ball over either.
It was wonderful. Maxey, by the way, those 21 points in the third quarter, the only Sixer that's ever scored more points in a playoff game in a quarter, AI. With 26.
Well, didn't he?
It was
he
very
had 50 that game. Too.
It was very. Yes, he
did. Toronto.
Yes,
That's
it
right,
was.
Right. See, I don't need a screen to show me that. It's all off the top of my head.
Well, you're just you're a wonderful man. Yeah, you're unbelievable. I wish I could be more like you. Said no one ever. My dear Lord.
Oh God. All right, PT.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
Because, during the week, an NHL legend and a New York Islander, great Mike Bossy passed away, and you reached out to former Flyers captain Dave Poulin, and we're gonna get to talk about we'll talk a little hockey with Dave Poulin and what Mike Bossy meant to the NHL.
100%. I mean, look, he's one of the top 5 greatest goal scorers ever, in my opinion. You've got Gretzky and Lemieux right up there in the conversation. Bossy, Richard, and Ovechkin. I mean, for the first 9 years of his career, Mike Bossy, the fewest goals he had was 51. That's the lowest one, 51. So, I mean, the next year after he had 51, he had 38 because he had chronic back issues. He never played again. He had 573 goals.
Also, 60 goals 3 consecutive years in career, too.
He averaged 57 goals a season.
That's incredible. And of course, his career was shortened because of injury. But he also came out and said he was not going to fight.
Yeah,
back then.
I do remember that.
That was during an era
where there was a lot of fighting. Look, I think he was a real classy guy. Dave Poulin will tell us more about that. I think that he was known around the league as being a gentleman and playing the game the right way.
When I saw that, I was shocked. I didn't know he had cancer. And you know what? It was part of my youth, not childhood, because I was childhood, 77. The New York Islanders, the Philadelphia Flyers.
How about if I said this? He scored 50 goals in 9 straight seasons, but he never came across as a self-promoter.
No.
He made the players around him better, and that's the highest praise that you can bestow on a hockey star.
So when we get back, we're going to talk with former Flyers captain Dave Poulin. The second hour of the Locker Room is brought to you by the Great Bay Country Club, where it's not just golf, it's fun. Make Great Bay Country Club your club. Great Bay is an award-winning private golf club where you are greeted by name. It's home of the 3-hour and 58-minute round. You can play on their 18-hole championship golf course or enjoy fine dining experience, lively atmosphere in the pub. For more information on how to become a member or book a wedding, go to greatbay.com or give them a call at 609-927-5071. Great Bay Country Club in Summers Point, New Jersey. See why it's always a great day at Great Bay. When you get down there, say hello to Radio Ron Ralston for us. Kevin Kelly's down there. They do a great job. All right, friends, let me tell you about Maserati, the main line located just minutes from downtown Philadelphia. They offer a client-focused car buying experience designed to exceed all expectations and invite you to stop and see the area's largest selection of new Maseratis, including the sporty Ghibli midsize sedan or the class-leading Levante, the only SUV worthy of being called a Maserati. Maserati, the mainline, also leads the nation in certified pre-owned sales and has the highest quality like new Maseratis available on the market. Your experience does not end at the point of a sale, as Maserati the Mainline offers free pickup and delivery for scheduled service appointments and provides a new Maserati loaner car. So be audacious. Call my good buddy Michael Pileggi at RDS Auto Group at 484-804-4800. That's 484-804-4800, or visit them online anytime at motml.com. All right, when we return, we'll talk with former Flyers captain Dave Poulin. You're listening to The Locker Room with Billy Schwein, Pete Thompson, right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Pick Your Trip is back, and the Eagles draft party.
Pandemic, even with fewer motorists on our roadways. While it is tempting to talk, text, or scroll through your social media to keep up with the latest news, it should never be done while operating a motor vehicle. April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. Police departments in Atlantic County are participating in the You Drive, You Text, You Pay campaign, cracking down on distracted drivers with zero tolerance. A distraction occurs every time you take your eyes off the road, your hands off the wheel, and your mind off of driving safely. Let's all work together to ensure in healthy behaviors and put every symptom of the pandemic behind us.
I'll tell you what, Pete, I will never, ever forget that moment. You said you were in the stands for that. That had to be the most euphoric feeling of all time.
It was a very impressionable moment for a young Peter Brooks Thompson at age 14 to watch Pooley go up there. You just, come on. They were down two men.
Right. Do you think these guys, like, Dave Poulin and Rick Tock and these guys, do they know what they do for the fans that things they'll
Maybe
never
now,
forget?
yeah, I think now, sure. And he smiled. I see him in the StreamYard. He knew whose voice was, and he knew the moment that we were bringing on.
All right, let's go to the Maserati, the Mainline Sports Hotline, and welcome into the locker room former Flyer Captain Dave Poulin. Good morning, Dave. Happy Easter.
Morning. Happy Easter, guys. Great to join you this morning. Yes, I do remember, Pete. I know we had an effect on you, but you didn't have to throw your age out there. I was only 14 at the time as well. I think we're the same age, so I think I was 14, and it was my third year with the Flyers. I started when I was
11. You handsome devil, you.
Dave, when you scored that goal, describe the feeling, the electricity in the spectrum, and that place was just going nuts.
It was amazing, and it was that battle against Quebec. That was just a great Quebec team, and they hadn't quite got there. They had their big emotional series when they would play Montreal, and all of a sudden they were in the conference finals with a chance to go to the finals. And at that point in the game, we were up 1-0, but down 2 men, and I had broken 2 ribs in game 2 of that series, so I was a mess. And I had come back and played in game 5 in Quebec, and then in game 6, when I picked off that pass, it was right at the top of the circles. And if I flash forward a few years later, guys, I was at the University of Notre Dame, and I was recruiting Jan Stasny. And his dad Peter was in the room, obviously, and who I picked that pass off from.
This is so great.
And was in that story, and I remember Peter with just a wry smile. And we did get Jan. He did come to Notre Dame and play for me, so I guess Peter had forgiven me at that point. But when I picked it off, it was into the kill. And it was Dougie Crossman and Mark Howe on the ice. And I can just remember thinking how long it was to get to the other end of the rink, because they had kept working lower and lower. And I picked that off literally at the top of the circles. And I thought, now, am I going to even be able to get, there's a good chance Mark Howe passes me at some point in this equation, right?
Right.
Because he was tireless and he could skate, the best of any of us. And then as I was going in, you don't want to have thoughts creeping into your head, but all I could think about was Murray Craven. Because he just, all he was saying was, you got to go high on Gosselin. You got to go high. You got to go high. And I wasn't a pure shooter. It was hard enough for me to raise the puck. And, at that point, and just remember going right underneath the bar on Gosselin. And as I circled around, there's no one to celebrate with. There's only 2 other guys on the ice.
And they're stunned that just happened as well.
Yeah, they're as shocked as I am. Trust me, guys.
God, Dave Poulin's our guest here. I'm so happy that you brought up Stasny's name, because this, to me, Dave Poulin, explains why hockey is such a small world and small community. So I'm in Omaha, Nebraska, covering the Omaha Lancers, who I believe Jan Stasny played for. I did a story on the Stasny son-father connection and, tried to find that old footage of both Devil's father, Nordique's father, of all these Stasny guys. And then Billy, the first time that I got to actually sort of really BS with the great Dave Poulin was at a UNO Maverick hockey banquet when they bring the opposing coach in. And I have this iconic picture of me and Pooley. Both, I have more hair. Pooley is 15 at that point, right? And I'll text him to him.
Career, right? I think I was 18 at that point when I started coaching in college.
But I'll text you that picture sometimes, and we just laugh. I only have 1 chin instead of 2. You're just as handsome as always, Dave Poulin.
Well, Mike Kemp did a great job with that program. When they said Nebraska Omaha was going to get a Division I hockey team, we were all like, okay, well, we'll see how this works out. Boy, did that team take off, and that was embraced from day one in that community. A great barn to play in, and Mike Kemp just did a magnificent job, and that became a rivalry instantly for us. And of course, it involved the University of Nebraska and the University of Notre Dame, and so as far as anyone knew, it was it was big time football, and it was just Kemper really did a good job with that, and that was big time from day one. Pete, you guys made it so impressionable to even go in there as an opposing team. And we ended up playing you in the playoffs out of the first or second year of your existence in an incredibly heated playoff series. And it was really a fun environment that you built in a hurry there.
We're talking with former Flyers captain Dave Poulin. And Dave, we're on the Maserati, the Mainline Sports Hotline. Dave, we'll talk about the state of the current Flyers, which is a far cry from your glory days.
How long is this show, Billy?
We blew out all the breaks.
Right.
We blew them all out for you.
But Paulie, one of the reasons why we got you on is to talk about the career of a NHL legend, a great Mike Bossy. I was shocked and sad to hear of his passing, and talk to us a little bit about Mike Bossy, what he meant to the game, and what kind of a player was he?
Well, we'll start at the back. We knew that he was sick, and in fact, there had been a report out of Quebec about a week and a half ago that he had passed, and it was erroneous, and it was. And so when I was asked to write the article, I wrote an article for the Toronto Star. I write on Sundays here, guys, in the Toronto Star. And in fact, in a sidelight, I did call one of my columns recently "Sudden Thoughts and Second Thoughts" with the tribute to Bill Lyons and his great columns. But I was asked to write a column about Bossy, and I said, boy, this is really touchy because he hadn't passed. And, that the family had asked that we not even use the word palliative care. They just wanted to say he was resting at home comfortably. So we did know, Billy, that he was very sick. Such a young guy, 65 years old.
65, man.
Come on. And then when I was going through my own head, I try not to, when I do my articles, I really try and write them first person. I'm encouraged to do that. And I wrote it from a perspective of, I was a big Leaf fan. So in 78, 79, when they had those great series with the Leafs, Mike Bossy was just destroying my home team. And then when I played my second game in the NHL, Bob McCammon was our coach, and he walked by me, and I'd scored 2 goals in my debut the night before in Toronto. It was the second last game of the year, and all of a sudden now we're playing the Islanders, who've won. At that point, they would have won 3 of their cups. This great Islanders team, and as only KG McCammon could, he looked and said, "Yeah, good game last night, kid. Hey, shut down Mike Bossy tonight." And he just kept walking with a little smile on his face. You're like seriously, shut down Mike Bossy? And I actually went back and looked at the box score, and he was -1, and we beat them 4-3 or 4-2, and so I guess that's as close as you come. But boy, oh boy, to play against him heads up and to watch him at his best, he was just different from everybody else. And a lot's coming out now since he passed about, his refusal to fight and the era he lived in. And even in the column I mentioned, the thing that made him so different was the Broad Street Bullies and the Big Bad Bruins. And because he just refused to play that style of hockey. But he did it in a graceful way that was seemingly different than everyone else. I think Mario Lemieux did it in a graceful way as well, and Guy Lafleur. But then on Friday night, I did the Montreal Islanders game, and it was the game in which Carey Price made his debut. So there was so much emotion in the building. And then, of course, Mike Bossy was from Montreal, from the suburb of Laval, where he had started as a junior. So they did a moment of silence, and it was really powerful, guys. I mean, in many ways, he was their French-Canadian hero who got away. They kept Guy Lafleur, but they lost Mike Bossy. And the reverent hockey fans in Montreal and in Quebec, in the province of Quebec, never, ever lose sight of their own. And Mike Bossy was one of their own, even though he played for the much feared and in some ways hated Islanders because they were so good. He was still special to them. And it was a really, really powerful moment, but just far too young. That's what sticks out in my mind more than anything.
No doubt. Dave Poulin's with us on the Maserati the Mainline Hotline. I'll read this to you, Paulie, and then we'll ask you about the current team, too, because we have to squeeze that in. I'm sorry. While he scored 50 goals in 9 straight seasons, Bossy never came across as a self-promoter. He made players around him better, and that's the highest praise you can bestow on a hockey star. Now, I don't know if that was your words or somebody else's words, but either way, I think that's a fitting tribute to what Mike Bossy was and what he meant to the game. So the current team, I don't know. There's no easy way to segue into this current team. Even last night, Dave Poulin, I'm watching the Sixers first and foremost. I'm even trying to use my phone to find out what the Phillies score is, and then I said, well, they're on the secondary channel. Let me tell you, holy cow, the Flyers are up 2-0. And I even got there in time to see Tippett's backhand and thought, maybe this is a team they could beat. Well, you know how this novel ends. Could you just espouse on Billy and I a little bit, or expand, some thoughts on how they fix this? How do you fix this?
Well, and this week's column was about the state of the last 2 weeks and how every game is important to every team for a variety of reasons, be it Carey Price playing his first game, or posturing for position if you're in the Atlantic and who you want to play and who you don't want to play, or fighting for the playoffs if you're in the West, if you're Winnipeg or Vancouver or Vegas. But I didn't write anything about the Flyers, and maybe that's the worst part of it.
Yeah,
I did. They were a team, that's just, they weren't fighting for the first overall draft pick, and as Montreal and Arizona was, and they're not one of the young hopefuls in the East like Columbus. I think 4 teams that are on the rise, guys, in the East are Columbus, Detroit, Buffalo, and Ottawa. And they've got a host of young players on each team and high draft picks. And Chuck Fletcher just has his work cut out for him. He really does, because he's in between. His 2 big centermen are 29 years old, and Kevin Hayes, multiple years left on deals, and Sean Couturier. And you can take the last 2 years for a lot of organizations, and if you look at what the Flyers have been through in the last 2 years, you'd say, how could any organization withstand that? Except every team has been through the same thing. Every team's dealt with the nightmare schedule and the COVID compaction and losing guys at the wrong time and a myriad of injuries. You make trades, you bring a Ryan Ellis in, he plays 4 games. I mean, Ryan Ellis is a really good player. I think he's 29 years old as well. He might be a little bit older. But, you look at the moves that were made, and when you lose guys of that magnitude, you can't really fathom what it means, because it moves everyone else in the lineup to a different spot. So now you lose Ryan Ellis, who's a top pairing guy, and someone else has to slide in and do that. So Sanheim maybe is more comfortable in a 4 role. Now he's not there. Provorov has to do something different, and he doesn't have the partner. Maybe you wanted to partner Ryan Ellis with Provorov. So the compound effect is vast. Now, I don't know that they have a young star coming with their draft picks. If it's Joel Farabee, if it's Jay O'Brien, like, who's going to be the star, the next star? Because if you look at Buffalo, they got a couple of good guys coming, and Owen Power, guys, you're gonna not like him for a really long time. And I've done the Olympics. I watched him play. I watched him play in the World Championships. This kid is the real deal. But then they have a bunch of other really high-end pieces as well. In Ottawa, who I cover a lot, this Timmy Stutzler, the young German kid. You already have Josh Norris in the mid-30s and of goals, and Brady Tkachuk, but I think the player there is Stutzler. Like, he is going to be a superstar. Detroit has Lucas Raymond and Moritz Seider, and I really like what Jarmo Kekalainen has done in Columbus with some of his guys. Kent Johnson's going to be a star. I don't know who the star is going to be for the Flyers. I don't know if they have that guy.
Poulin, it's also, I think, the culture, it seems, is a lot different than when Ed Snyder was in charge of the Philadelphia Flyers.
Corporate, that's the word that I hear.
Like,
corporate.
The stands, I mean, Pete and I went to a couple games, Dave. It was like empty.
Yeah, Billy, I did a game, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. I was in with Montreal, and it was a Sunday night. It wasn't a great crowd at all. And you can't lose someone to the magnitude of Ed Snyder and not be fully impacted. He was the rarest of rare. I mean, he was such a personal owner. And he had his own life, and he would come and go with the Flyers. But if you look at when he came, that's when the Flyers skyrocketed. I remember pulling in 2009-10 when I was with the Leafs, and seeing a new little portion in Ed Snyder's parking lot. And I'm thinking, oh, boy, they're going to be good. And sure enough, they went to the finals in 2010. I just saw, and his involvement, depending on where he was in his life, in his personal life, where he was in his business life, he came and went with the Flyers. But if you look at when he came, you can market guys. When he was there, they were good. And he's a guy who made his fortune from his pro sports team, never lost sight of that, never lost his passion for the game. But I remember sitting at his funeral and just thinking, and this is going to be different. It is going to change. It simply is. They were so The fans of Philadelphia were so fortunate for that long. I mean, almost 50 years to have that one owner. Like, it was crazy. And with the personality he had and the passion he had, and to be able to take over so young, and his bond with the players. And, there's few owners. Like, I played in Boston, and I met Jeremy Jacobs maybe 4 times in 4 years, but it was passing in the hallway.
Right.
When you stopped with Mr. Snyder, it was a meeting. It was like he wanted to know. He was in your face. He wanted to know what was happening with the team. He wanted to know what was happening with your family and how the Twins were doing. And like, he just was a special guy. And you don't just replace an owner like that. You simply don't. And today's sports world is very different. And it's the biggest single factor, but it's not going to change in that respect of, you're not going to get one guy come in and be an owner like Mr. Snyder was.
Well, thank God you haven't changed a bit, Dave Poulin. 15 years old, now you're 18, maybe 21. You finally can have a beer legally at 21, right? Good job by you. But, hey, we can't thank you enough for your time and the great stories.
Yeah.
I mean, my gosh, Billy and I are going to go hit the slots in AC. We're going to win the Progressive. We're going to buy the Flyers, and then we're going to hire you to either be the GM or GMN coach, okay? That's my Easter secret.
I'm very happy with my lot of life right now, guys. You're going to have a hard time getting me out of here.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, take care, Paulie. Thank you so much.
Have a great day, guys.
All right.
All right, there he is, Dave Poulin on the Maserati, the Mainline Sports Hotline. You just hearing that call, Pete, just brought me back, man. With Gene Hart.
It was outstanding.
Gene Hart.
It was outstanding. He's outstanding. I've been honored and privileged to know him for a long time. And I mean, that's the thing. They say, don't meet your heroes because you never, and everything I hope for. So.
The second hour of the locker room is brought to you by the Great Bay Country Club, where it's not just golf, it's fun. Make a Great Bay Country Club your club. Great Bay is an award-winning private golf club where you are greeted by name. It's home of the 3-hour and 58-minute round. You can play on their 18-hole championship golf course, enjoy fine dining, experience lively atmosphere in the pub. For more information on how to become a member, go to greatbay.com or give them a call at 609-927-5071. Great Bay Country Club in Summers Point, New Jersey. See why it's always a great day at Great Bay. Just about everybody in our area has heard about the Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine, run by ex-Philadelphia tight end and ex-USFL Baltimore Stars tight end Ken Dunick. For you aware of their private business network they call the Legacy Club. Every month they hold private events at upscale locations in Philadelphia and South Jersey that attract over 200 top business people. If you have an interest in attending one of these events and see if it's fit for your business, send an email to ken@jerseymanmagazine.com or give them a call at 856-912-4007 for more information. When we return, we'll wrap it up. You're listening to The Locker Room with Billy Schwein, Pete Thompson on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Sixers playoff basketball tomorrow on 97.
to hard cash. PropSwap is the only app that allows you to pick your favorite teams now and then sell your bet whenever you want. And the best part, it's all from your phone. You never even need to touch the ticket. We all make sports bets to make money, and many prop swappers make thousands of dollars in just a month from buying and selling bets. So, what are you waiting for? Let's get started today by downloading the PropSwap app.
How do you make the most of your land? If you ask the Wrens, who run with us on a John Deere mower, they tell you,
I mow first, then I do all the trimming.
But the Hubbards, who work behind the wheel of a John Deere compact tractor, would say,
if it's something you want, just go after it and try it.
Then there's the Mosers, who may mention from the seat of their John Deere Gator UTV.
You can't be all work and not play.
All right, we're back here in the locker room. Got about a minute left. Not even a minute, 50 seconds, Pete, in a busy Easter Sunday show.
Well, that's what happens when you get good guests on. I told him we blew out the brakes. We didn't really need to.
All right, Pete, excellent job today. I want to thank Tommy Greene for doing his weekly segment. Mike Carlin calling us in from his location. And Dave Poulin, former Flyers captain. Great show today. Happy Easter to you and your family.
Happy Easter to you and yours, Billy.
Let's go Sixers tomorrow night. I'm taking my daughter to Arlington National Cemetery down in Washington, D.C. tomorrow to see my father's grave in Arlington.
Please look up Michael Paul Cassidy as well.
Thanks for making the locker room part of your Sunday, because nothing could be finer than talking sports with the Schweiner. Got some great basketball on today. Stay tuned. Keep it tuned right here at 97.3 ESPN. And we will see you next week right here in the locker room. Have a great week, everybody.
You have the choice, whether it's going out to dinner or